About
Augusta basketball is definitely back. I mean, and I'm glad to see it being back. Even with your squad with Matt and Austin, I mean, we have guys all over the place now that can really play. And I think even with my era, we had pieces on every team. Had the stars. Rick, myself, and Montego. But this group right here is the deepest I've seen in a while. It's really some guys that can put it in the basket.
Okay, we've got Keenan Mann on the line. Keenan Mann is a former ASU Jaguar. He's got his jersey retired at Augusta State, so we figured we'd get in touch with you. You know as much as anybody about basketball in the Augusta area, and so when we were talking to Will, it was a lot about his time and Ricky Moore and Montego Cummings and Antonio Grant and some of these guys, and you coached most of those guys in AAU basketball. You kind of led the way. I and those guys all kind of looked up to you as you did your thing at Augusta College. Think about those days and think about what you've seen lately. Do you think Will's got a point?
Well, I think Will has a point, but I wouldn't go as far as he went yet. Like that list of guys that you named, and there's probably even a few you left off. I can think of Anton Lee and maybe a few others. Back then, there was a guy or two, Ty Shine, at every school that when you list them out, ended up at Division I, high-profile Division I schools. There are a few guys around here now that are headed that same way, but overall, the talent level is not what it was back then. Now, having said that, it's not back yet, but it's primed to make a good comeback, and the benefit to the whole community the second time around will be what you guys have got started. No, when basketball arrives, there'll be a place for it.
I know that you have that you've seen the Westside Patriots this year, and I know that you think very highly of their guard combo. Now, they just went down. Westside ended a fine season just a few minutes ago, losing 57-49 to Crisp County. But would you like to tell our viewers what your opinion is of Frank Booker and Ronald Campbell, that fine guard duo?
Oh, yeah. Now, I've watched those guys play, I think, 3 times this year, and like you said, I've seen a lot of basketball here over the years. I would go as far to say that tandem is as good as there ever has been here. They complement each other well, and I don't think I've ever seen 2 guards on the same team that can just flat out shoot it and get it done like those 2.
Yeah, they're tough. Now, so my earlier guest, Will, doesn't come to your house and pound on your door. You do remember that Ricky and Will played together, right?
I absolutely. If there was any such thing as fantasy high school basketball, I'd love to see that matchup.
Yeah. Okay, we got you. Great. Okay, we're on the phone with Ricky Moore. Ricky graduated from Westside High School in 1995. He won the state championship that year. Ricky's provided Augusta basketball fans with some of their best memories in the past 2 decades. And, Ricky, thanks for being with us.
I'm happy to be here.
What would be your opinion, Ricky, on what made things so special back in the early to mid-'90s?
I think one of the things was that, you had so many teams in the area that you had to fight night in and night out just to get a win. Like you mentioned, you had Thompson, you had Josie, you had North Augusta, you had Laney, even Glen Hills. I mean, I can go. Richmond was a fierce competitor. I can go on and down the list. It was just rough to get a win night in and night out, and I think that's what made it really special as I look back on it. And, just that competitive nature going into each game, knowing that you had to bring your A game. It wasn't a game that you can go in and say, we can relax tonight, because everybody, once you're on top, everybody wants to knock you off. And so you had to come with your A game, and fortunately I had a teammate,
William Avery with me, and also my other teammates. I mean, it was just fun for us to be competitive and be able to talk some smack after the game and just go out and enjoy the game of basketball and, bring 100% every possession.
Sure. Well, thank you very much for being with us. We're going to jump on to the next call now, but, we're going to twist your arm and make you come back from time to time, whether you want to or not, old friend, okay?
Yeah, and hopefully you don't block my number.
Well, I've been trying to do that ever since, about 10 years ago, so it just won't work out one way or the other.
All right, thanks for having me.
All right, good man.
I know that people are going to be buzzing about Keenan's statement. Do you want to weigh in on that as to which side you come down?
We got two good guards down the lane as well, so I would have to throw those guys in the mix as well to go against those guards at Westside, Frank and Campbell. And I absolutely love both of those guys, but I would ultimately have to go with Ricky and Will.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about two guys that played at the highest level, and they were just ultimate competitors. They go 33-1 and win a state championship, number 9 in the nation. So, Frank and Duke, they're good players, but they're not there yet.
Oh, sure. And, you got two guys that compete for the national championship, starting point guards against each other in 1999, UConn versus Duke. So it's hard to top that, no doubt about it. And there's no doubt your guards are as good as any, and there's this team called the Augusta Eagles that has a couple good guards.
Exactly. Throw your guards in there too. Austin and Matt, they can score in bunches, so you can't exclude those guys.
Yeah, and then I'll let you go after this, but the other team that's still alive in boys basketball is Aquinas, and they've got a couple really good sophomores as well. So. I think Will might be right. Augusta basketball might be back if it ever left. And Will, you started a little bit of a discussion yesterday in our pregame show, and when you were talking about the Augusta basketball players, you made the comment that basketball is back in the city of Augusta, and so that started discussion with other guests and Keenan Mann was on after you in the postgame show, and Keenan said that it's his opinion that the West Side guard combo of Frank Booker and Ronald Campbell are every bit as good as any combo we've seen, and so I had to remind him of the combination of William Avery and Ricky Moore in the early 90s and all they accomplished throughout all levels of basketball. And I'm sure he was having fun with it, but he said he'd like to see that confrontation if there was a way to make it happen as far as like some kind of fantasy basketball or something like that. So Keenan's a good friend of yours, good friend of mine, and I couldn't resist calling you, putting you back on the show to get your response from our old friend.
Well, I think Ronald Campbell and Frank Booker are, very good in their own right. The thing that's unfair to them is they happen to play at Westside High School where, the duo of Ricky and myself used to put on, some amazing performances, for a span of 3 or 4 years that is very memorable in a lot of people's minds when it comes to Augusta basketball.
Yeah.
I would say this. If Frank and Ronald were at any other school, would the comparison still be made?
Yeah.
That, I don't know, but the fact that they're at West Side, of course, names definitely come to mind.
Yeah.
But, when you look at the things that, Rick and I accomplished in high school and on to the next level, those are things those are amazing things, and I think it's going to be very tough to be duplicated ever. When you talk about two guys at times in their respective classes throughout the country was always considered one of the best high school guards in the nation, always.
Yeah.
And to play together and win a state championship and, Final Fours and to be ranked number 9 in the nation and then to go on to college and face each other in the national championship, I think those are hell of an accomplishment. And to compare, kids to that is kind of unfair to the kids. Those are, legendary performances and legendary things that happen.
I agree. One thing is it's at least caused some fun conversation, and you make a great case, and it's an easy case to make, and we also have talked to Buck Harris in the past few hours, and he made the exact same case. The ninth in the nation ranking, and you guys competed for a national championship at the college level against each other in 1999, and there's just things that happened during that time period that may never happen again. But I don't know if we'll need to call this segment old school or Barber Shop Talk or what, but it's
definitely good Barber Shop Talk. I mean, it's definitely good Barber Shop Talk. But I tell you what, man, I take my backcourt mate, me and him over any backcourt any day.
Yep, I bet. And Ricky was at the game last night, the Westside game, and the group went down. The Patriots went down, but they faced a fine opponent. Very athletic, very tough opponent, and the Patriots represented themselves well. And I know that you're proud of your former school.
Definitely proud of those guys. They had a great year. But I'm a little down this morning because I was, ready to charter a bus to follow these guys to Georgia College this weekend, just like old times. But,
yes.
Hey, they did a great job, man. My hat's off to those guys.
Yes, sir. Now, would you like to tell us about your tournament coming up this weekend?
Yes, we have a tournament this weekend from 4th grade to 10th grade. The Will Avery Stars March Madness tip-off is actually a fundraiser for our organization, but we've been able to get about 40 teams in, and we're going to be playing this weekend with games at Patriots Park, Curtis Baptist. And another thing I want to tell everybody to look out for is at the end of March, the Will Avery Stars organization is looking to put on mini camps every month for boys from the ages 9 to 17. And what we'll do there is we'll work on individual skill work, conditioning, and speed and agility drills. This is something that's going to definitely help out the player that wants to take his game to the next level. It'll be 2 days. We'll do it Saturday and Sunday. We're going to do it every month, so be on the lookout for that.